Good evening and welcome to our first Pike and Shotter Day review. This evening we'll be doing an unboxing on the Warlord Games Landsknecht Starter Army. Let's see what's inside. Again, lots and lots of wondrous things. Let's start with the little pamphlet. As expected, we have various flags that cover the period, along with a bit of background information. Thank you, Joe. We have the Hansbush or Hackbutt light gun. And let's see who did this one. Joe again for the Landsknecht officers. I'll have a closer look at those in a moment. We have 5 of the command sprues. And 1, 2, 3, 4 of the missile weapon sprues. Similarly, we have 4 of the Zweihander sprues. And finally, tubular bells. The actual Landsknecht pikemen, which we get a significant amount. "16 sprues with 6 complete models on each. And we get a free Celtsburger, not to be sniffed at. A few sprues of Renrada square bases, and a circular base. And thank you, Morella. Now let's have a closer look at the sprues. And onto the sprues. Here we have the command sprue, which has an array of heads ranging from a long-tail Sallet to a Maron helmet. We have a fully armoured officer model with choice of hand weapons or poleaxe. We have the parts for a drummer and a few extra pieces. With the main Landsknecht sprue, again we get an array of heads, both in fancy hats and more militaristic helmets. We get 6 bodies, 2 of which are in full armour for the period, and the other 4 in traditional slash and puff clothing. We get 6 pairs of arms with pike, and we also, as missing from this sprue, I believe it's loose in the box, we get a handgun, as you can see here. I believe that may be somewhere loose in the bottom of the box. At the bottom of the sprue, we get the Celtsburgers, daggers, pouches, and because they're Landsknecht, we get extra feathers. With the Zweihander sprue, we get the same heads and bodies as the pikemen, and we get 7 arms or pairs of arms with the infamous Beihander or Zweihander weapons, all of which are straight blades, as opposed to the flambard that we often see in the fantasy artwork, which is still historically correct. And as with the pike sprue at the bottom, we get the catsbalgas, daggers, pouches, and more feathers. Now, with the missile weapon sprues, it gets a bit more interesting. We actually get 6 unarmoured bodies, which some, in fact many, are completely different to the bodies supplied with the pikemen and Zweihander sets. We also get some different heads, most of which are wearing hats rather than helmets. We get 6 pairs of arms with handguns or arquebus, and similarly we get 6 arms in various loading or firing positions with the crossbows. And like the other sprues, we get the catsbalgas, daggers, pouches, and feathers. And now onto the metal models. First of all, we have the officers set, where we have an officer with 2 pistols or a brace, with breastplate and backplate over his Waffenrock, along with Catsbalga, and does seem to be wearing a secret, which is a metal skull cap helmet underneath his flamboyant hat. We then have a gent in what would become known as cuirassier armour, with the extended tassets coming down to his knees, and again armed with pistol and sword, and huge codpiece to hang his hat on. Then we have, again, in a Waffenrock. It is not obvious whether he is wearing any armour or not, but armed with just a dagger, Catsbalga, and Marshal's rod. And finally, we have yet another codpiece, dagger, Catsbalga, a large Marshal's rod, which could also be painted as a telescope. But best of all, he is armed with a splendid shoulder cape and telebarret. Then we have the other metal pack, which is the handbush or hackbutt light gun. Well, when they say light, subjective, obviously. When put together, it should be something like that, with this figure holding the weapon up, while this one rests his foot on the lower plank, preparing to ignite the gun itself. Both are very clean castings. The officers have a little bit of venting, but nothing major. Thank you.